So the average American has 5 hours of free time per working day plus weekends, and there are 13 things that you can do in that free time that will make you happier, more fulfilled, and less stressed than you are right now, and most of them are free. And even though I have a pretty hectic job as a corporate lawyer, I generally don't start work until around 9:30 a.m., giving me 2 hours of free time in the morning. I usually finish work on average, say 8:30 p.m., giving me 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed. Plus, I have 16 waking hours both days of the weekend usually, meaning I actually have around 60 hours of free time a week. And you may have more than me, so that led me to question, what are we all doing in all of that free time? Obviously, we all have stuff we need to do. We have jobs, and then there are chores to be done. And if you have kids, I imagine those take up a pretty significant chunk of your life. But what's pretty crazy is the amount of screen time people are accumulating outside of their work lives. In the UK, at least, a 2022 survey found that the average person spends 5 hours a day looking at screens outside of their job or school. What's even crazier is that the time we spend scrolling and lots of the TV we watch, to be honest, is actually probably making us feel crap. So it's not even giving us enjoyment. It's just easy and highly addictive. So let's start running through the 13 things you can start replacing all of that time with to mean you live a happier and more productive life. But I will admit that I am not spending all of my free time doing these things. I'm still scrolling, I'm still watching Netflix, but I am trying at least to spend more of my 60-ish hours of free time a week doing these things. Okay, first up, contact friends and loved ones. So, you know those people who really appreciate it when you message them and they quite often message you and you sometimes reply, sometimes forget to reply? Well, I think trying to be better at reaching out to friends who you don't often speak to, or messaging your parents, your grandparents, letting them know how you're getting on and letting them know that you're thinking of them is a hugely powerful way to A, make their day happier, and B, you actually feel really good about yourself when you contact these people. So just carving out a little bit more free time to think, okay, who in my contact book have I not messaged for a while, particularly people close to you like your mum, dad, for me, who I should reach out to more often than I do, and reach out to them. I say the gold standard of this is writing a letter to someone, probably only done that a handful of times in my whole life and should probably do it more, or even just writing a longer email to, for example, your grandparents to update them on your life. And finally, phoning people I think is really underused. Like, I do not often just pick up the phone randomly and give someone a call. But actually, when a friend just randomly calls me, it's like, I don't want anything. I just wanted to see how you're doing. It's really a lovely thing. You have a lovely chat and then you hang up 5 minutes later. It didn't take up much of either of your time. It's not the big deal you imagine it to be. And it was really nice. Yeah, send a message, email, letter, or just pick up the phone to someone, contact people you care about, and they will massively appreciate it. And you will then get the benefit of actually feeling really nice about the fact you just spoke to someone you haven't spoken to for a while. Plus, you'll also get this kind of helper's high from having done something nice to someone else. Second, we have listen and walk. And I specifically combine those two things as something productive you can do, because this is one of my personal favorite things to do and probably the best thing that came out of the pandemic for me, other than slightly more perspective on life. I personally really struggle to read books, as in the words on a page. I feel like my brain desires dopamine, which doesn't help. I get distracted quite easily. But I also think that in my job, I spend most of my life reading words on a screen. And so the thought of then coming home and in the evening reading more words I find quite painful. Instead, going out on a walk, I managed to get my steps in, so huge health benefits. But then I also have loads of stimuli around me while I'm listening to an audiobook that I think really help me to retain focus on what I'm listening to. I don't always listen to stuff when I'm out on a walk. I often just use it as a form of meditation, but maybe 50% of the time I do listen to books or podcasts. And I think I've probably read an extra 10 books in the last year by walking and listening at the same time. Okay, next up we have Be Your Social Circle's Social Sec. And this is inspired by a few very particular friends that I have who are amazingly good at organizing things for other people. A social sec is like a position you have at uni, and I have a couple of friends who we refer to as the social sec of the group, who organize loads of stuff for the others in the group, and it's just amazing having stuff thrown at you. I think it's a really lovely thing to suggest doing things with your friends that will bring joy into their lives, whether it's something really small like happy hours on this weekend at this bar, let's all go together, or planning an entire holiday with a group of friends. Psychologically, I think this gives you things to look forward to, which is really important, particularly if you're in a tough patch at work, for example. And I think you also then get the benefits of getting to share these amazing experiences with people you care about. Number 4, learn a language. Il est évident qu'il est utile de parler une autre langue. And on top of that, it's also been shown that becoming bilingual delays the onset of dementia by 4 to 5 years, and has also been shown to lead to a whole raft of other health benefits, better attention, listening, decision-making, critical thinking. And my favorite way now of keeping up and continuing to improve, in particular my Spanish, is a platform called LiveXP, who are very kindly sponsoring today's video, which allows you to find a tutor who has similar interests to you, whether you're a pure beginner, intermediate level, or have learned a language in the past and want to get back into it. Through LiveXP, you get private one-to-one tuition with a native speaker. There are over 2,000 tutors on the platform speaking over 30 languages, including professional teachers who speak your first language. I really like being able to schedule sessions around my busy life, learning and practicing when it suits me. And there's also a word trainer tool in the app for learning vocabulary between sessions. I've tried out loads of really great language learning tools, but I think actually having a physical person there who you can talk to, who you can laugh with, who you can ask questions, has made me fall back in love with speaking Spanish. I'm also really excited to potentially use my subscription to learn another language, as all of the tutors are included with your subscription. So yeah, you can book a 30-minute trial lesson for just $1, and you can also get 30% off subscriptions using the discount code that's on screen now. Number 5 is to organize your digital life. So most of us have loads of different devices, apps, notifications, camera rolls full of loads of the same and rubbish photos, calendars that are disorganized. So once a month, I like to take for each of these maybe an hour just to clean up my digital life. So there are 4 things I'll look to do. Number 1 is to get to inbox 0 across both my messages and my email. Number 2 is then to clean out my camera roll of those like repeat images of exactly the same thing, or just like random photos I've taken, just to make sure that my camera roll is nice and clean. So when I look back through my photos, it's like, this is so pleasurable, rather than random stuff in here. Number 3 is then to add events into my calendar, and particularly into my shared calendar with Beth and with my family, to make sure we're all on the same page with what is going on in our lives. And number 4, reorganize your phone setup. Obviously not something you should spend time on every month, but I have a whole video about how I completely overhauled my iPhone 14 Pro setup to mean I get less distracted, have better access to stuff that I really care about on my phone. So well worth doing if you have some free time and haven't done it for a while. Next up, plan your meals. So if I have particularly a weekday evening where I don't have a huge amount on, I'll spend half an hour planning meals for the next week and making a shopping list. I have a number of recipes and the ingredients for those recipes saved in my notes on my phone, so I can easily just copy and paste those ingredients into this week's shopping list if I want that meal. Batching meal planning in this way means you avoid food waste, you save time going back and forth to the shop repeatedly, and you also save money because you don't feel the urge one evening, because you haven't got anything planned, to get a takeaway. And number 7 then is to do chores during the week. So kind of as an extension of meal planning during the week, I think if you can squeeze in as a work from home hack some of your chores like washing, dishwasher, cleaning into your working day in 5 to 10 minute blocks, that means that you avoid then batching those tasks at the weekend and losing maybe 2 or 3 hours of your weekend. Now clearly if you're really busy, that's not going to be possible, but you may have periods where you're slightly quieter at work and can afford to spend a few minutes of the day just getting those chores done so they don't take up your weekends. Next up, you should review your finances. I think it's way too easy to go, say, 6 months to a year without thinking about money, just spending what you think you have and not really looking at your income, expenditure, etc., to realize that actually you just spent 3%-ish of your working life spending more than you had or not investing. And because of compounding, that actually has a pretty significant impact on your ability to perhaps change jobs if that's something you want to do, to retire early. And I think just being really cognizant of your finances at all times is a first and fundamental step to becoming wealthier. So I think you should be using maybe half an hour to an hour of your free time once every couple of months to take the following 3 steps. Number 1, compare your income to your expenditure and make sure that you're saving and investing as much as you want to be. So for me, I'm paying myself first. I'm putting money away when I first receive money at the start of the month into my savings accounts and my investment accounts, and I'm then spending saving the rest, but I want to make sure every 2 to 3 months that I'm not having to move money out of my savings into my current account because I'm overspending. When you're doing this, make absolutely certain you've got no credit card debt, no high interest debt that is beyond the interest-free period. Step 2, work out your net worth by working out your assets and subtracting your liabilities. You really want to see that number going up every 2 to 3 months when you repeat this exercise. And step 3, monitor where your money is. Have you got money in a current account that should be moved to a savings account? Are there better interest rates for savings accounts online than you currently have? Have you maximized your tax-free pension contributions, ISA contributions in the UK, which is an amount you can pay into an account where the gains you get are tax-free? And have you, for example, considered paying off more of your student loan because the interest on that is very high, which is certainly the case in the UK at the moment? Next, use your free time to set birthday reminders. So open your calendar app or an app like Trello and add in the dates of all of your friends and family's birthdays with reminders a week before so that you can send them a card or at least a message and never ever forget someone's birthday. Number 10, stay informed. So I like to do this in 3 ways. First of all, read the news. I read the BBC News and also the Financial Times because of my job, but BBC News is free around the world. Stay up to date with general headlines, trends, what's going on. Then number 2, I like to listen to podcasts. My favorite news type podcast is called The Rest is Politics, which is a UK based podcast where they cover global events and they have discussions between 2 ex-politicians from the 2 leading opposing parties in the UK. And I also read email newsletters. So my favorites are Matt Levine and Finimize for finance, The Property Geek by Property Hub for property related news in the UK, and finally the Menos Memo, which is of course mine and Beth's newsletter through our business Menos, which we put out every other week. And you can sign up for that through a link in the description. Alrighty, number 11 is to freelance, and I appreciate this is not something that everyone is going to want to do in their free time, but it is an amazing way to earn some extra money, and it can be pretty good money, and it's something I did throughout my time at university to earn extra cash. Plus, I think it's actually easier than people generally would think. There are sites like Freelancer or Upwork where you can go on, you can create a profile, and then you can choose a skill that you want to sell to people. So if you speak a language, you can do transcription or writing services. Or you could alternatively gain some experience and knowledge, taking an online course like Skillshare course on how to video edit or how to photo edit, and you can sell that service as well. I've used it to hire my current video editor, Acha. I've also used it to hire thumbnail designers, graphic designers for book covers, and I would say I don't think you have to be an absolute expert in whatever you do. If you've ever made an Instagram reel, for example, you could probably find someone on Freelancer who's willing to pay you to make one for them. I would also add that tutoring is an amazing option to earn some extra money around, particularly being a student. I know Beth and a few of my friends at university did this. All right, penultimate productive thing to do in your free time is to take an online course. There are so many free or nearly free online courses. I think Skillshare is an amazing platform still for creative stuff. Yeah, it's still very dear to me because it's where I learned to video edit from Ali Abdal, so cheers Ali, back in the day, which kind of started me on this YouTube journey. You can also take my course, for example, on how to be more productive using Trello. There are so many incredibly valuable free courses out there from institutions like Google, Harvard, Yale. I recently took a course on generative AI. I think it was like 40 minutes on Coursera, I think it was, produced by Google, really well put together, really interesting introduction to generative AI. Last thing I'd say on online courses is if you're a student or considering a career change, there are so many incredible virtual internships now. The best platform I've found for them is called Forage. We're talking law, business, tech, accounting, banking, basically every career that's not manual physical stuff that you can't possibly do online. And these virtual internships give you at least a flavor of what it'd be like to do those jobs, meaning you can try out a whole range of different things and whittle down where you think you might want to go with your career. All right, number 13, the final productive thing you can do in your free time is, drumroll please, to watch TV. And I've included this because I actually think one of the most productive things you can do when you're tired is to do something that helps you to relax. And for me personally, watching reality TV is the ultimate antidote to a hard day's work. So I'm thinking about how I'm using my free time. I'm really generally thinking about energy and how much energy I have. So starting the morning with some exercise gives me energy for the rest of the day. Socializing often boosts my energy levels, but at the same time, recovery for the next day, a good night's sleep is absolutely essential. And so relaxation, watching TV, unwinding, completely clearing my mind of what I've been doing that day is also essential. And I think it's absolutely so productive to do those things that allow you to fully unwind. So I guess the overall point of this video has been, you should not be spending 60 hours a week on your phone and watching reality TV, but you can probably spend 15 hours a week to get the relaxation you need doing those things, and the other 45 doing all of the other stuff we've talked about in this video. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Please do leave a comment down below. I always read all of your comments. Genuinely, it makes my day when I get a really nice comment saying, this video was really good, Liam. Thanks so much. So please do drop me one of those if you thought this was helpful. And I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon.